So the 2022-23 regular season and postseason of the NHL is wrapping up, and I want to go through every team's past season and what they need to do to improve next season, basically recapping what happened this year and talking about how every team can improve moving into the 23-24 season. So I'm going to start with the Atlantic Division, and it makes sense to start with the team who broke a record this year. The Boston Bruins had an historic season with 65 wins, 12 losses, and 5 OT losses. They had 135 points and a crazy goal differential of 128. The Bruins were followed with incredible goaltending. Their defense was off the charts, and their forwards just looked like they couldn't miss the net. And fortunately for the Bruins, they were able to make history this season before their 100th year, but sadly, they kind of came up short in the playoffs to a wild card team that really had no business beating them. Now, the Panthers are currently in the Cup, so if you're a Bruins fan like I am, it does feel a little bit better knowing that they actually went all the way, but there's a lot of things that this team needs to improve on going into next season. So right now, the Bruins are looking at two of their top line centers potentially retiring and basically no cap space to work with if they do. If Bergeron and Krejci end up walking away, the Bruins are going to have to make some serious roster adjustments considering that they have about 10 restricted and unrestricted free agents to look at, with one of them being a really big piece in Jeremy Swayman. Now, Swayman and Allmark were basically the backbone of the Bruins team this year. They were crazy in net, and the team really rallied around their incredible performances. But unfortunately, the Bruins can't really keep two goaltenders making $5 million a year. It just doesn't really work in the NHL like that. You don't need two guys to be playing with huge contracts in net when you don't have top-line centers. So what the Bruins should be doing next season, all things considered, they need to move off of guys who are making too much money but have a lesser role. Guys like Taylor Hall, maybe Linus Ullmark, they need to be moving on from those contracts to acquire a few top-line centers. Now, there's been some rumors about Linus Ullmark heading to Edmonton for Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. I know Edmonton fans aren't really into that, but I think that that's a serious deal the Bruins could make. Shave some of that money from Ullmark to get that top-line center, get rid of Taylor Hall to sign Tyler Bertuzzi, and make sure that you can come back with a competitive team because there's still a lot of stars on this Bruins team. You have Pastrnak, Marchand, McAvoy, Lindholm. That's not a bad roster to be going into next season with. Those are some core guys you can build around. The problem that really is with the Bruins is that they don't have any third or fourth liners. Like, if they lose all of their restricted and unrestricted free agents down there, you're basically saying we have to bring up our young guys. And the Bruins don't have many of those. Lohrei is one of the biggest prospects that the Bruins have. But outside of that, it's kind of like, I don't think there's too many people that they can have coming up in their system. And that's unfortunate for the Bruins because they need a full roster. And the only way to do that is to trade off a lot of their talent. And we don't want to see the Bruins go through a full rebuild, but I think it might be time for the big bad Bruins to retool their roster a lot and trade away some big pieces. So it could happen that the Bruins move on from guys like Marchand. You never know. These guys are on good deals, but there are some also bad deals. That Taylor Hall deal isn't looking good for the Bruins, and I don't know what they can do to get rid of that. They might actually have to trade away some picks with Taylor Hall in order to get rid of that money, which is really tough if you're a Bruins fan because it's like you don't want to just trade away pieces that feel like they fit in your system, but you also really need to address some of those positions. Orlov is a free agent. Bertuzzi is a free agent. You just signed Pastrnak to an $11.5 million a year deal. You need to give him a center. Right now, the best center on the Bruins right now, if Bergeron and Krejci retire, is Charlie Coyle and maybe Pavel Zacha. And neither of those guys are a top-line center in my opinion. But basically, the Bruins' year was a hit and a miss. The Bruins had an incredible regular season, and watching every single one of those games was absolutely amazing. Their postseason run, not the same. I can't say the same about that. But it was still wildly entertaining, and I love the Boston Bruins team. So in my opinion, I think they're going to be competitive next year. I think they're going to be the top three in their division like they usually are. I think the Bruins really need to address their top line and second line center positions, potentially fix their goalie thing with, I don't know, maybe trading Allmark or not signing Swayman, and re-sign some of the guys like Bertuzzi and Orlov that you made the big trades for at the deadline. But if you're a Boston Bruins fan or an NHL fan, let me know what you think about these takes. What do you think the Bruins should do in the offseason? And what do you think about their regular season in 22-23? Make sure you like this video, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. I'll see you in the next one.